What did I get myself into? Did you ever say that to yourself? I remember once when I was young, I guess I didn't have much to do at the time. I saw this old manual typewriter in my mom's basement. I looked at all the little mechanical intricacies of the machine, and I said to myself, I wonder if I could take this apart and put it back together again. And about a half hour later, I had all these little pieces laid out neatly in a row on the table beside me. I looked at them. I looked at what was left of the body of the typewriter, and I said to myself, what did I get myself into? But that's not the only time that I said those words to myself. I said those words when my wife wanted to go shopping, and I wanted to stay home and watch the ball game. I said those words when I had to decide whether to take my child to the emergency room when he was running a high fever, or to wait and see if the fever would break. I said those words after accepting a management job at work, and my boss came to me with also many demands. And I still say those words every time I sit at my computer and think about what I'm going to say here from the pulpit. What did I get myself into? You know, I can't help but think that Simon Peter must have said those same words to himself so many times. Luke's version of Peter's conversion from a fisherman to a fisher of men is a little bit different than the other gospel writers. In the other gospel writers, Jesus was walking along the seashore and he said, "Come follow me." They dropped their nets and followed him. But in Luke's version, Jesus and Peter were already acquainted with one another. I don't think it would be unreasonable to say that Peter and Jesus knew each other on a business level. After all, Peter was a fisherman and Jesus was a carpenter. Perhaps at some point in time, Jesus did some repair work on Simon's boats, or maybe he provided some material for repair work. So in today's story, Jesus is being mobbed by people trying to listen to what he was saying, but it was so hard to be heard, with so many people pressing so closely upon him. He spotted someone he knew, Simon, and with his boat. So he says, "Hey Simon, can I use your boat? Will you take me out a little so I can have some room here to talk?" So Simon helps him onto the boat, and they go out a little way into the shallow part of the lake. He takes that first, Simon takes that first step into the shallow water. But then, after Jesus finishes teaching, he has another request for Simon. Go out into the deeper water and lower your nets. Now Simon was a professional fisherman, and he knew it was unlikely that there would be any fish to catch at that time, when they didn't catch anything when fishing was at its best earlier. But out of respect, after all, Jesus did cure his mother-in-law, and he must have heard the words that Jesus had just taught Simon. Simon called Jesus Master for the first time, and he put out into the deeper water. At that time, Simon had no idea what he was getting himself into, did he? No idea how many surprises, both good ones and bad ones, that would take place in the next step, that this next step would lead him to. You know, it is in our lives like that. We decide which college to go to, and that decision has such a profound effect on the rest of our lives. We accept or reject a job offer. We decide to marry or not to marry. We have a child or we don't have a child. These and so many other decisions are part and parcel of the fabric of our lives. We weigh our options, try to see as many benefits and pitfalls as we possibly can, and then, based on what we know at the time, we make the decision. But if truth be told, in the long run, we have no idea where this decision will lead us to. Just think if you had never gone to that school. Just think if you hadn't taken that job. Just think if you hadn't gotten married, how much different of a person you would be today. We have to venture out into the deep water. We have to commit ourselves to the decisions that we have made, approach the relationships we form with faith and with hope. It is then that we allow ourselves to be transformed into that new person that we have become as a result of these decisions. Sure, there will be times when we say to ourselves, "What did I get myself into?" But when we stay true and faithful to our commitments, we find that the rewards always exceed the challenges and the difficulties. And if you don't agree with me, look at your spouse. It is the same in our spiritual lives and in our relationship with Jesus. We are here, church. We are here in the shallow water, listening to Jesus' word and calling him Master and Teacher. But in this Eucharist, we are always being called to deeper waters. We are being called to commit ourselves to this offer of relationship with Jesus and allow ourselves to be transformed into the new creation that God calls all of us to be. In Churchese, this process is called conversion, but I prefer to use the word transformation because we are transformed into becoming that which we received. But transformation is not an instant occurrence. It is a process that has its ebbs and its flows. Just as in our human lives we are constantly becoming, so in our spiritual lives we are constantly being called to becoming that creature made with love in the image and the likeness of God. There are still a few weeks left of ordinary time before we come into the deeper season of Lent. Let us use this time to pray for and to discern how we are being invited to cast our nets in the deeper water. Perhaps if you haven't been there to confession for a while, perhaps it's in the sacrament of reconciliation. Perhaps it's in attending Mass on some of the weekdays during Lent, or coming to stations. Perhaps it's by participating in some of the special Lenten programs that will be offered both here and throughout the diocese. But let us not let this opportunity to venture into deeper waters pass us by. We may not know where it will lead us, and we may at times wonder how we ever got ourselves into this place. But when we commit ourselves with faith and with hope in the love of Jesus on our journey, we will find our nets full and overflowing.